It was the first week of my first year at Blackwood University, a small, supposedly quiet college in upstate Vermont. My parents had just helped me move into my dorm room and left that morning. I remember sitting on my new bed, surrounded by half-open boxes, feeling that weird mix of freedom and loneliness that comes with your first day away from home. By late afternoon, my roommate finally arrived. His name was Evan. From the moment he stepped in, I knew something was off. He was tall, pale, and thin, wearing an oversized hoodie despite the warm weather. When I stood up and introduced myself, "Hey, I'm Ryan," I extended my hand for a handshake. Evan just stared at it for a few seconds like he didn't understand the gesture. Then he gave me this limp, cold handshake, like his hand was lifeless. He didn't even tell me his name until I asked. "Evan," he said quietly. No smile, no eye contact. I tried making small talk. Where he was from, what he was majoring in, that kind of thing. But all I got were one-word answers. Sometimes he'd just chuckle awkwardly at random, like he didn't know what was appropriate to laugh at. Within 10 minutes, we were both sitting on our beds in silence, typing on our laptops. That night, I already started thinking about requesting a room change. I figured Evan was just socially awkward, but I had no idea how deep that weirdness went. Later that evening, after exploring campus, I came back to find him sitting on his bed in the exact same position I left him, staring at his computer screen. I said, "Hey, what's up?" But he didn't respond. It was around 9:30 and I didn't have much else to do, so I turned off my lamp and went to sleep. Except I couldn't fall asleep. I could hear him typing for hours. Click, 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 until almost 3 in the morning. The sound finally stopped and I felt myself drifting off. But less than an hour later, I woke up. Something was different. The blinds were open now, letting in moonlight that hadn't been there before. My eyes adjusted, and I froze. Evan was sitting upright on his bed, staring directly at me. I sat up and rubbed my eyes. "Evan, what the hell are you doing?" He didn't move. Then, in a whisper, he said, "Sorry," and slowly laid back down. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, he was gone when I woke up, which was almost a relief. That day during orientation, I overheard a few students near the campus gardens whispering and pointing. I looked where they were pointing. Evan was crouched in the dirt behind a line of bushes, rubbing his hand along a tree trunk, just stroking it. When they noticed me watching, I mumbled, "That's my roommate." They gave me a look of pity. That night, I got an email saying I'd been approved for a new roommate assignment. I was thrilled. When I got back to my dorm that night, Evan was sitting in the desk chair facing the door, just staring at it. I said, "Oh, hey." He looked at me blankly. "Nothing," he said when I asked what he was doing. I went to grab my laptop and realized something was wrong. My emails had been opened. Files I didn't remember opening had been accessed. He'd gone through my computer. When I asked him about it, he snapped no before I even finished the question. That night, I caught him going through my duffel bag while I was trying to sleep. When I turned on the light, he claimed he thought I had his toothbrush. The next morning, I moved into my new dorm. My new roommate, Chris, was quiet but normal. I thought that was the end of it. But 2 nights later, I woke up to a faint clicking sound. Click, click, click. It was coming from the door. When I looked through the peephole, I saw the top of someone's head, and the doorknob was moving like someone was trying to pick the lock. I called campus police immediately. Within minutes, they arrived. When they opened the door, I saw them holding Evan in handcuffs. He'd found my new dorm room. He'd been trying to get inside. He was expelled shortly after, and I never saw him again. But sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I still expect to see him sitting there, just watching. I went to Ravenshade College in northern Washington, a small, isolated campus surrounded by dense forest. During my second year, my friends and I discovered a hidden spot by Lake Marlow, deep within the campus nature preserve. It became our unofficial hangout. That night, it was me, Jordan, and Lucas. We brought a few beers, started a small fire, and were just talking, the kind of deep, drunken, bro chat that seems meaningful at the time. Hours passed, and we were laughing so hard that Lucas fell over in the dirt, clutching his stomach. Then suddenly, Jordan stopped laughing. "Shh, you hear that?" The sound was faint but unmistakable, crunching leaves. Someone was out there. At first, we thought it was campus security, since kids sometimes got caught drinking in the preserve. We quickly threw our beer bottles into the lake and doused part of the fire. But then, the sounds started circling us. Branches snapping from different directions, slow, deliberate footsteps moving through the brush. It wasn't random. Someone was walking around us. The hair on my arms stood up. Then, without warning, a massive crack. A tree branch landed in the middle of our campfire, sending sparks flying. "What the hell?" Jordan yelled. Before we could react, another branch, this one smaller, came flying from the darkness and hit Lucas in the face. He screamed. We bolted. Branches whipped at our faces as we tore through the trees, heading for the road. Behind us, heavy footsteps followed, snapping twigs, crushing leaves. When we finally reached the edge of campus, panting and shaking, we stopped under a streetlight. For a moment it was silent. Then, from the woods, the figure emerged, just standing there, watching. We ran all the way back to the dorms. From Lucas's window on the second floor, we could still see him down by the tree line, pacing back and forth like an animal waiting for its prey to return. He eventually disappeared into the dark. We told campus security, but they found nothing. To this day, I never went back to Lake Marlow after dark, because whoever, or whatever, was out there that night wasn't just some drunk student. It was something that wanted us to stay away. This one happened to my friend Ben during his first semester at West Hill University, a notorious party school. Ben's roommate convinced him to go to a small, off-campus frat party one Thursday night. It wasn't one of the big-name fraternities, more like an unofficial underground one. The house was at the edge of town, near an abandoned rail yard. Music was blasting from inside, but the place looked almost condemned. Peeling paint, dark windows, no porch lights. When they walked in, the air was hot and thick with sweat. About 50 guys were packed into the living room, and only a couple girls were there, none of whom looked comfortable. Ben said he tried to be polite, talk to people, but everyone seemed off. Too quiet, too watchful. After 20 minutes, he was ready to leave, but the crowd near the door made it awkward to go. Then a large guy with greasy hair and a stained white shirt handed him a small glass bottle. "This'll get you lit," he said, grinning. Ben hesitated, but the guy just kept staring, waiting. So he took a sip. 10 minutes later, everything started spinning. The music faded. His vision dimmed. Then blackout. When he woke up, he was in a dark room, lying on a bed. He could hear the muffled bass of music downstairs, which meant he was still in the house. His head throbbed. His throat was dry. Then came the sound, a faint crunch, like someone stepping on a plastic bag, coming from the closet. He slowly turned toward it. There was movement behind the door. Ben bolted. He ran out of the room, down the stairs, through the crowd of people, and straight out the front door. He didn't stop running until he found his roommate's car down the block. When he got in, he screamed at him to drive. He later realized he'd only been unconscious for maybe 10 minutes. Whatever he drank, maybe a date-rape drug, hadn't fully kicked in. He never told the police, but he swore that as he looked back at the house, he saw that same man, standing in the window of the room he'd just escaped from, smiling down at him. During my sophomore year at Marston College, I was lucky enough to get a single dorm, a small corner room down a short, private hall. It felt secluded and peaceful. Until it didn't. The first night, as I was studying, I heard a faint tapping sound at my door. It was so soft I almost thought I imagined it. "Come in," I called. No response. When I opened the door, no one was there. The hallway was empty. The next night, the tapping returned, this time louder, more like knocking. Again, when I checked, there was no one. The third night, it woke me from a dead sleep. This time, it was pounding. I opened the door fast enough to see someone disappearing around the corner, just a glimpse of a figure in dark clothing. I chased them down the hall, and when I turned the corner, I saw the bathroom door at the end slowly closing. I was angry now, thinking it was some idiot playing a prank. I stormed into the bathroom, flipping the light switch. Empty. 2 stalls were shut. I knelt to look under one. Empty. Under the other, I saw boots. Heavy, black boots. I took a breath and swung the stall door open. No one was there. Just the boots. Sitting perfectly in place. Then, laughter. Low. Raspy. Not like a student. Like an old man. I ran. Slammed my dorm door shut and locked it. The knocking came one last time that night. Louder. Longer. And then silence. The next day, I asked around. No one had heard or seen anything. And no one on that floor was old. But I still wonder, who was that man? And how did he get inside the dorms?